You serious? I'm back at it.
Spoilers for She-Hulk. Alright, let's get this started. She-Hulk Attorney at Law is the 8th Disney Plus Marvel show, and the second to last big thing we're getting with the next Black Panther closing out Phase 4. Man, that feels weird to say. Almost like not much has happened in this phase. Most will say Phase 4 has been disappointing, myself included, but I also think not every storyline needs to be this big grand adventure. Like, look at the Ant-Man movies. Yes, in the grand scheme of things, these movies matter, introducing the quantum realm, but I wouldn't call these movies must-watches.
This is a multi-year journey you're about to embark on. Yes! Yeah. Who's your best friend?
Nikki.
Spandex. Spandex is your best friend.
So I was looking forward to She-Hulk. Not because I'm a huge She-Hulk fan or anything, and my knowledge of the character stems back to the Incredible Hulk TV show.
Feels like somebody's lighting my fire.
But I thought that any character that makes sense to be on the small screen would be She-Hulk. Characters like her, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel just make more sense for the smaller screen to the big screen than characters like Wanda, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, who we know are going to be on the big screen again. Jumping straight into the show, we are introduced to She-Hulk, aka Jennifer Walters, played by Tatiana Maslany, and we see that the show doesn't take itself too seriously because we see Jennifer breaking the fourth wall, talking to the audience.
It's true. I am a Hulk.
Which you might recognize from the Deadpool movies.
Oh, hello.
But this is also something She-Hulk is known for doing in the comics as well. And I'm glad this wasn't just a trailer thing, because it gives the show something uniqueness and a lighter tone that I think that they were going for. However, lighter tone doesn't really mean much in the MCU, unfortunately. I've said this before, but the MCU has so much comedy and comic relief characters that characters that are actually known for their comedy and lighthearted tone don't really stand out as much anymore.
Still in control, no overwhelming feelings of rage.
No! A normal amount of rage!
You do revert back to Gen form when you sleep.
Was the air horn really necessary?
For comedy, absolutely.
After a brief introduction to Jennifer and her supporting characters, we flash back to a few months later where we see Jennifer hanging out with her cousin Bruce. And this is probably my favorite part of this episode, seeing these two characters interact with each other. Mostly because I just like Mark Ruffalo again as the Hulk, because let's face it, we're never going to get another Hulk movie, so I'll take what I can get. What's not so great is the convenient random alien spaceship that just comes right out of nowhere, which drives Jennifer and Bruce off the road, causing Bruce and Jennifer to both get hurt, and Bruce's blood following Jennifer's blood, causing her to mutate into the She-Hulk. Stop. This is probably the fastest superhero origin we have ever gotten. Now on one hand, I appreciate the show getting straight to business, but this seems like a running theme on all these Disney Plus shows is plot convenience. So now Jennifer is a She-Hulk, and we spend the rest of the show where Bruce and Jennifer are practicing how to control Jennifer's powers so she can live a normal life.
You said multi-year?
About 15 years, give or take.
15 years?
Again, you know, your typical superhero stuff. And again, I like all this stuff. We even get some decent dialogue with Bruce mentioning Tony and Cap again.
Yeah, Tony built it for me a few years ago.
That's impressive.
Yeah, me and Tony. He used to joke that it was a loaner, that one day he'd just swing by and take it back.
Oh my God.
Which just gives me a reminder that out of our original Avengers, Bruce, Hawkeye, and Thor are all we got left. Jesus, the Avengers are looking bleak. Now, Jen is shown to have more control over her Hulk form than Bruce did originally.
Why are you talking to me like I'm a stray horse?
Jen?
Yeah?
You don't have an alter ego. You don't have another guy to wrestle with for 10 years.
And this doesn't make sense. Once again, in the comics, Bruce has multiple personality disorder brought on from his abuse from his father, which is something they haven't really addressed in these movies at all. Well, unless you're counting this movie. Does anyone remember this movie? I do appreciate that Hulk is calling himself Smart Hulk in this. Again, another callback to the comics. Later in the episode, Jennifer does stress that she does want to go back to her normal life, and Bruce tells her that, unfortunately, there is no more normal. She is a Hulk, and that means she has to be a superhero, but Jennifer doesn't want to be a superhero. She wants to be a lawyer. So argument, fight happens, and it's somewhat entertaining. I do have to question how much time exactly passes for Jennifer to get this good at her powers.
2 seconds later.
Gonna cry?
But you can just imagine this is one of those superhero fights where they're not actually trying to hurt each other, so Bruce is probably holding back here. But I don't appreciate Bruce also acting like a little baby in this scene. I really hope in the future we get to see Hulk be badass again. I do like the back and forth that we have with Jennifer and Bruce. Bruce explains how he was alone for years as the Hulk because there was no one else like him. And Jennifer says that that's exactly why she doesn't want this life. She wants to go back to her normal life. And Bruce understands and tells her to keep in touch.
If you want to go back to your life as a lawyer, I respect that.
He doesn't mean that.
Fast forward to present day. Oh yeah, did I mention Jennifer's a lawyer in this? Though we don't really get much of that because then immediately we get kinda anticlimactic fight scene to end the episode.
Who the hell are you? Jennifer Walters, attorney at law.
And that's this show. Okay, what did I not like? Even though I did like Jennifer and Bruce's back and forth, I feel like we didn't really get much to like from her character in this. It's only the first episode, but I hope she has some character flaws. We don't need another Captain Marvel problem. And looking at her supporting cast, I really hope this is not just a women good, men bad type show.
Basically, I was right and Bruce was wrong.
And I guess I'll address the CGI elephant in this room. Is the CGI for She-Hulk better than what we've seen before? Kinda. Certain scenes look pretty good. I don't know if it's just because I'm used to seeing Bruce as the Hulk, or if it's just the model they had for them was already done. I don't know. There's just certain scenes where she just looks still very strange. Maybe I'll get used to it. There's a lot of uncanny valley. Other than some of the comedy beats, there wasn't that much I hated about this episode. It was just fine. It was okay. They tried. I do have to wonder how much superhero part this show is going to be versus lawyer part. Depending on the She-Hulk comics, that's exactly what it is. She's sometimes just being a superhero and sometimes she's just being a regular old lawyer. I do hope for a good combination of both. Because the best parts of the Daredevil TV show was just Matt being a lawyer in the courtroom. Which, definitely looking forward to Matt showing up in the show. Even though he probably won't have much of a part in this show. I mean, we all seen the trailers. Daredevil, Wong, Abomination. With all these different characters, I wonder if we're going to see the leader. Remember that guy?
So says the leader.
All in all, I definitely have low expectations for this show, which is not necessarily a bad thing or me trying to diss it. After Loki and Moon Knight, which I had very high expectations for and was very disappointed with both, I've learned to keep my feelings in check with these shows, and I think others should probably do the same. I don't know if I'll keep reviewing these episodes, but I'll definitely try to give this show a chance. The fact that Marvel Disney has finally learned not to have these shows be 6 episodes and it's going for 12 is a step in the right direction. So finally, let me know what you guys think of this show down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Once again, this is In For Repeat. I've been Nate. Stay up.